So excited to be kicking off our Black History Month programming tonight with our first open mic in-person performance at MoAD since February of 2020. Who was here for the last open mic in February? Yeva, all right. So we have been doing open mic online, and I'm so excited to be able to bring back my former colleague, Nia Pearl, who founded the open mic series and really nurtured it and developed this amazing community over the years. So let's all give Nia a round of applause. And I didn't used to do this, but tonight I'm going to introduce her. So Nia Pearl is an award-winning poet, writer, and environmental justice advocate working at the intersection of art, activism, and public engagement. She's an established host and event curator, passionate about creating participatory spaces for creative expression and literary dialogue. Nia's writing has been published in Radical Magazine, Meridian's Journal, The Town, an anthology of Oakland poets, and Painting the Streets, Oakland Uprising in the Time of Rebellion. She's one of the recipients of the 2023 Nomadic Press San Francisco Foundation Literary Awards, and one of my favorite people. So let's all give it up for Nia.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here this evening. It's truly a joy to be back in this space and to be hosting this event. As Elizabeth said, this is the first time hosting in-person open mics since 2020. This was such a fun project to nurture over the years, and we really lit up this space and since 2018 here with this open mic series. And so it's really special to be back in this space and to see many familiar as well as new faces here. Tonight we have an incredible lineup of performers this evening. Thank you all for signing up in advance. I want to shout out our featured poet this evening, Ramona Laughing Brook Webb. Woo! Yeah. We also have a special guest performance from Moses Moody of the Golden State Warriors, so we're very, very grateful. So to begin this event, I want to share that whether it's on the mic or in this space, we always center respect. As a reminder for our folks coming up to share on the mic, each person will have 5 minutes. And then for those in the audience, I encourage y'all to be active participants. Give us your snaps, claps, show love, and support to all the people coming up this evening. It's a vulnerable thing to get up in front of people and share, and so we really want to support everyone here in this space. So with that, I'd like to introduce our first reader and invite Damani Thomas up to the mic. Welcome.
Oh, that was lovely. Okay, so I have a newish poem for y'all. Yes. And only thing you need to know before this poem is I have like a weird like obsession with like Whitney Houston history. So yeah, I've been trying to like work through that. February 11th, 2012, I have a conversation about grief with an alien wondering why all the black folks are crying. Me and my niggas were practicing the art of dancing with somebody. Bounce, bachata, salsa, Lindy. Whitney wasn't clear on this part, but maybe that doesn't matter. I'm an unreliable narrator, but I wouldn't lie about this. It was like the sky blushed open, like a crush called you beautiful after days of will they, won't they. No. The sky was a broken stoplight, or a shade of red the Klan marches to. If there were a time to believe in the rapture, rumor has it started in Beverly Hills. Breaking news, electric slid across my TV screen. The preacher's daughter made us move even in death. February 11th, 2012, and Whitney Houston broke our hearts. On this National Day of Mourning, black folks forgot to have any sense, because why did my neighbors communicate only by yelling for several hours? Through cheap windows and cold concrete, I heard, "Neighbor, turn on the news. Neighbor, are you watching? Neighbor," like the echo of an empty apartment. And how could I not feel empty and neighbor and called for? Cha-cha slide, Cupid shuffle, crying in public. Collective dances are ways to move through grief. Just because I shimmy don't mean I ain't shiver. Don't mean I don't grit teeth, groove, grind, get down. Don't mean I don't believe when the beat drops. In God, I mean, good grief. My neighbors, loud as fireworks at a funeral, muffled the sound of the alien arrival. An offbeat aircraft, 2 left feet dangling off the shape of a tax-funded military tank, crashed in Oakland. Like any flag-waving government, if you want to take advantage of a people, you do it while their world is burning. When they entered our dance floor of sad negotiations, they did not ask. They did not speak. The first words said to us mirrored an interrogation or a child at a zoo. Why are all the coloreds crying? And this too we will have to heal from. The first thing said to us was a microaggression at best, proof that America has somehow made it to space at worst.
Keep it going for Damani. Thank you so much, Damani. Next up, I would like to invite Nyambi Walker up to the mic. Welcome.
Hey, y'all. Okay, so I'm gonna do 2 poems tonight. Keep it short, keep it classy and simple. The first one is called Reimagining the Dancing Plague. With enough time, bodies start to evaporate into stories. Empty grave sites ask us about fiction. Tell us about fairy tales. Smell is as potent as a retelling. The blood-stained toes and bruised ribs, sweat baked in sun, unwashed and ravished. These all have smells you can't get rid of in a calendar year. But centuries make supposed memories inescapable. Like, suppose I stepped outside, fed up with all the disowning of my being, the smell of pine saw and dirt all too familiar to my fingers. Suppose after a long day of unappreciated labor, I take my black ass to the courtyard, barefooted, eyes watching me from the window. Suppose there I outstretch my arms, pick up one foot and in rhythm, always in rhythm to a tune only I can hear, I step my foot down into the mud. I twist my hips into the air. I spin and laugh, let the hysterics take over my ham bone. Suppose I can't take anything other than the 2-step anymore. I don't control nothing, so might as well not control this. The hours will pass into days, my bones dissipating themselves into delusion, until finally, neighbors start to hear my song, join me in this way, and they'll blame the witch, say I'm compelling them. Say I had the control all along until tight-lipped anguish gives way to eyes rolling back, the freedom to let go. Suppose one by one we fall to the ground, the smell of bloody toes, bruised ribs, unwashed, sun-rinsed odor escape our bodies, and they'll talk about that smell for years. The only thing keeping us still breathing through the city streets until the grass grows back and the rain washes our route away. History becomes cautionary tale, becomes, ain't no way she did that, a fantasy. Suppose I bring the dancing plague back, like a christening. Dedicate this vessel to the fed up and unforgiving. What if I take some with me? Will you come with me? Okay. So I'm gonna do this one real fast, y'all. I'm gonna do this one real fast. Warning, I have borderline personality disorder, and this is about that. It's about the experience. Has a little bit of singing, so bear with me. What am I supposed to do without you? How am I supposed to breathe through these seams? Life splits in two against truth, shaking up underneath my false teeth. I wake to the sound of your slick sorrows shaking the bed. Can't you get a good night's sleep? Can't you fold yourself into my palm? I reached out to touch you like I'm the only one you've ever needed, and yet here we are again, singing the same songs about abandonment and punctuating our days with scratch marks and howling. What animal have we become? All tugged teeth and nodding along in confusion. Everyone takes its picture. Or everyone thinks it's real cute for an irresponsible thing, for an untrained, unadaptable, inhabitable thing. Notice I didn't say unlovable. Not anymore. I look in the mirror, maybe because I'm young and vain or something, or maybe to make sure you're still there. All the remnants of the night unslept, but still breathing. I mouth to the you I see. I want to be real again. I want to be honest again. I don't want you, the audience, to believe borderline is all Double personality, blackout, can't control the everything happening inside us. It's not that. Don't you misunderstand. Don't you stitch me up into a rugged mistake. Don't dare think unlovable. I'm talking to you. I wake to the sound of your footsteps. You're leaving, and I mean the ones who get to watch me, to witness the sorrows left in my bed. I'm a good listener to all your despair, and I take it with me. Mistake it for my own bones, my own bell. You and I are the same. What am I supposed to do without you? How am I supposed to breathe through these seams? Life splits in two against truth, shaking up underneath my false teeth. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Nyambi. Give it up one more time for Nyambi. I'll invite Susan Umi Singleton up to the mic. Welcome, Susan.
I'm going to do two pieces. The first one is called Ocean Song Part 2. I don't remember what Ocean Song Part 1 was about, but I don't think it matters. I think they're kind of disconnected. I hear the waves crashing now, like muffled cries beneath the surface of dark waters, 1,000 voices cracking and echoing, reverberating in a haunting chorus. I sit and listen. The ocean weeps and forms condensation on my glass of filtered water, rinsed of its histories, the chorus silenced. The ocean weeps, breathes teary groans around me and descends into humidity, hung heavy on the air, sticky and weighing on my skin. The ocean weeps and grabs thousands of handfuls of sand. The tears leave the sand wet, bubbling and puckering with truths hushed. During high tide, many of them rush ashore. Mama Moon calls them to the front lines to rub shoulders with the rock and speak their truth into the sand, pour their hearts out, up to the clouds, offering their grief. The clouds always oblige. They shout their centuries-old aches into the sky, sing songs to narrate their stories to the wind, opens their mouths and welcomes their children into the arms of the water, and advance back home once tired, ushering in low tide. I stand from my seated place, squish sand and shell between my toes, lift off my dress, unravel my turban, and dance slowly into the body of the ocean, each ripple of wave a whisper into my body's fine black hairs. The ocean's cold, then hotness sway and unsteady my feet. I'm suspended in the water. I feel myself melt into the shape it's carved out just for me, amongst the shapes it's carved out just for y'all. The ocean swallows whole my memories, rinses away my sorrow generations deep, loosens it from my bones and allows me to grieve. The ocean stretches out, moves as one beneath her soft top layer, and for those who chose to call her home, she cracks open her surface and cushions their fall. Those on journeys to faraway lands, those shackled, those sick and sad, those who saw themselves in the ocean's mirror and dove headfirst into heaven. She splashes and celebrates their impact with song. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Rinse, repeat. Muffles their cries. It makes them her own symphony of liberation songs, caressing their bodies on the way down to the ocean floor. In the most loving of cradles, in her arms, she listens, kisses, and makes record of their sound, their watery breaths. Each crackle of the wave ashore speaks in notes of sloshing waters, echoes against the air and is carried by the wind, held by the clouds and falls back into herself over and over. Rinse, repeat. The ocean holds endless stories, for she is the expert on community song across continents, and in silence, it all becomes clear. Hold your breath and listen. So that's the first piece. I love writing about the ocean, but I feel like with poetry, you also have to write about your life sometimes in like very like literal ways. So this next one is a poem I've never performed, and it's about my brother. It's called October Hurts. October's hurt every year since I lost my brother. Slowly over the years, the light in Nikki dimmed and turned red, an uneasy, chaotic shade of red, a methodical red, void of empathy. How do you grieve the loss of the living? October hurts. There were always 4 of us, 2 boys, 2 girls, the girls older and the boys younger, the girls best friends and the boys too. We speak around Nikki's existence like an open wound whose scab is so fragile, any light touch undoes all the healing. October's hurt. Is this even my story to tell? I don't even know where my brother lives. He doesn't know where I live either. We are only 2 years and 6 months apart in age. Me, 1997, him, 1999. Me, March, him, October. I knew my brother, and now I do not. And October's hurt every year, and holidays hurt every year, and every day hurts every year because some days I block out any thoughts of him, and when I remember, I forget I'm still grieving. October's hurt, and I feel like I failed him. October's hurt, and to invite him back into my life would invite all his demons too. October's hurt, and he is just little Nicky Noodle. October's hurt, and we didn't get a chance to be best friends. October's hurt, and I hate that it will always be this way. October's hurt. I wonder if he hurts. October's hurt, and it's not his fault. October's hurt, and I don't know how to help him. October's hurt because our last conversation was layered with distrust, uncertainty, distance, and whoever ruled his head and actions that day. I don't like October.
I would like to invite Yvette Asa up to the mic. Welcome, Yvette.
I'm gonna be doing a poem because that was my option B. This poem is about, it takes a glimpse into a part of my childhood, and it's very intimate to me, so I'm just gonna be sharing it with you guys. It's called Becoming. I grew up knowing that mirrors could lie, that the world had rules for who could be beautiful, and I had already lost. Dark skin was a shadow, not the sun. Thick thighs were heavy, not strong. Hair that refused to bow was something to fix, not something to love. I broke combs in my mother's hands, watched pieces snap like the parts of me I was told would never be enough. I pulled at my skin, held my breath in mirrors, prayed to wake up softer, smaller, lighter, anything but me. They said I would grow into womanhood, but no one warned me that womanhood had walls, that I'll be placed in a box, too much, too little, too loud, too silent, too dark, too invisible. Worshipped or disregarded, never just seen. I watched the world love girls who did not look like me. They were light and delicate, soft curls that framed their faces, bodies that fit the mold, and I was taught to shrink, to make myself easier to swallow, to smile even when I felt unseen. But there's only so much disappearing one can do before they begin to fade completely. And then, one day, I stood before a mirror that did not belong to the world. It belonged to me. And I saw myself, not as something to fix, but as something whole. My skin was deep as history. My body, a map of survival. My hair, a crown that refused to fall. I traced the curves of my hips, the strength of my hands, and the fire in my eyes, and I knew I was never the problem. The world did not break me. It tried, but I'm still here. I was never meant to fit in boxes. I was meant to break them, and so I did. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yvette. Thank you for sharing that piece. Next up, I would like to invite Michael Nunley up to the mic. Welcome, Michael.
All right, I'm glad all y'all came out tonight. I'd like to start off by saying Happy Black History Month. And it's also my birthday month as well, February 24th. Yeah. I do accept gifts. You know, I recently took a trip to Africa, just got back. I couldn't write a poem in time, so I'm gonna just recite this poem I made some months ago. It's hip hop poetry. A fragile mind and sensitive soul should have died a long time ago. Every one of them years, I ain't covered them tears, so the plant could grow. The way I'm moving, wouldn't you like to know? Outside reveal that bright light, so they taking photos, synthesis, snap the pic, ooh, send this sis. You think I'm out the pen the way I finish sentences? I'm frugal, don't penny pinch, cause that's just nonsense. Speaking from mic to mic, I know they can hear. Different states, different area codes, like how'd I get here? When I perform, I let God know I have no fear. Anybody in my way might as well stay clear. Hopefully you see I'm working, all while staying patient, always seeking opportunities, those I'm not wasting. I'm a black man, so you got an idea of what I'm facing. They shook, they shocked. I got them bracing, y'all retaining what I'm saying. Got me feeling super, maybe even saying they always trying to take my shine. Mr. Satan, got rid of the thought saying tick-tock, time's a wasting. I got patience, but it's time. I'm not waiting. They call me Big Mike, carry weight, but I'm not weighing. Take a cute chick on a date. I might be paying. Play your role right, cause if not, you're not staying. I really feel a void, treat them well. Got them praying. 2025 is my year, I'm not playing. Fly like aviation, creating, innovating. They look at me now like, what an inspiration. Y'all might be right, but there's room for debating. Yeah, there's room for debating. I got more though, I got more. I live more present now, no past, no future. Man, the way these words flowing got me feeling real super. Man, how to not? Even the flyers would have caught fire. Reaching new heights, don't smoke, still getting higher. Didn't even apply for the job, still getting hired. Trust me, I could stop right now and still retire. No diss to your ex, but I'm speaking like Martin Luther. Play position with those cards, even if Kama Sutra. It's wordplay, ace to replay it so it'll suit you. Your favorite poem? Yeah, replaced it like I knew you. These raindrops falling from the sky, my eyes open wide, nature anticipating my tragedies. I almost cried, felt like I confessed. This God's reply kept it solid, but sometimes I ask myself why. Been writing for years now, still can't say goodbye. Been stoic, but I'm a poet, trying to tell you how I feel. Might stop using I, we're all connected like a chain of steel. What's the deal? How you supposed to be my brother, but you squeal? What's the deal? We grown now, we don't need to kill our still. What's the deal? We got greatness in our blood, why can't you feel? What's the deal? Ever give a starving person a meal? What's the deal? I could never match pain, it's so surreal. What's the deal? I keep it real. Flex on my ex, I like this version the best. How did it take a disconnect to finally connect? I got my rest. You can never say I'm looking depressed. Look at my chest. She's impressed, but she can still get X. Next. Poetry. one of the Ross art forms, you see, I knew we were meant to be, me and poetry. We named this one Poem, our newborn baby. Poem's a week old now, wow. Ain't she pretty, but we're already talking changing her though. Ain't that a pity? Hopefully better than the last, if not, I think I'll pass. But I don't mean like a deadbeat dad, cause that's just sad, Chad. So far we did a good job. I toast and raise a glass, but how could I be present when I'm constantly stuck in the past? I mean, constantly fixated on these things that I had. Took a look at the abyss, that bottomless pit. No relation to Brad. I might add, I can't brag about the life that I had, but don't spoil people's views, and if it can make them mad. My mind blown and gone, it's just racing so fast. When I'm gone, you feel alone. I'm not like your last. Get your mind out the past. I stayed strong even when it didn't make no sense. I stayed strong when things changed, began to diminish. I stayed strong even when it seemed to make no difference. I stayed strong even when the penning finally finished. I stayed strong, hold on. Think I need a minute. I stayed strong. I stayed strong.
I'd like to invite up Beckett Beard up to the mic. Welcome.
I could never write inside the lines. Maybe the curve on my G's hang too low, or the top of my T's end just above where they're supposed to, but I could never write like you inside the lines. I have to sit still, eyes glued to words like gum to a desk, clench my fists till the whites of my knuckles match the paper in front of me just to stay inside the lines. Don't preach to me about grammar rules or talk on subject-verb agreement, M dashes, Oxford commas, apostrophes, semicolons, when my hand used to ache so bad I would snap like pencil lead, but life is not always like writing, 'cause when I got out of line, I couldn't erase it. Maybe I'm just cursed without cursive, or punished with my penmanship, afflicted by A, B, C's. So if you see my handwriting, don't decide whether it was easy. 'Cause for me, just getting words down takes more effort than you can imagine. So if you can't read it, 'cause it's not inside the lines, then maybe we just can't see eye to eye. For me, writing in the lines feels like walking a tightrope, tedious, easy to fall. But just like walking a tightrope, I only learned to write when I stopped looking at the lines. Thank you.
All right, next up, I would like to invite Brandy Collins up to the mic. Welcome, Brandy.
All right, so just read one piece called Revolutionaries I Can't Trust. I might have to set my purse down for this one. Hold on. I know, we think it's, that's not black, we ain't doing that tonight. All right, we can talk about that later. I'm on the mic, girl, hush. All right, revolutionaries I can't trust. I can't trust a person who calls themselves a revolutionary and they don't do a little dance when a delicious plate of food is set in front of them. I can't trust people who say they never want to tell our stories, but don't read anything more than a meme or a half caption on some social feeds. And what kind of worldly warrior are you when you drop Swisher wrappers on the ground in front of the store? You ever meet a person who talks about being ready for war and taking up arms and is ready to fight for freedom and ready to blow it up and ready to die? Now, ask that same person, what does power look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? They won't have an answer, just repeating a problem they don't fully grasp. I can't trust someone who calls themselves a revolutionary who doesn't laugh out loud. What do you mean ain't nothing funny? Everything. See, even that, everything is hilarious. Why aren't you fighting for the freedom to have joy and laugh and frolic? I can't trust someone who calls themselves a revolutionary that tramples through a garden that isn't part of the battlefield. Those roses that you're pulling from the stems for your amusement and lack of comprehension don't need you bleeding your traumatized recollection of survival on them. That softness and delicate are what this battle is for. I can't trust a revolutionary who can't slow dance with a bottle of red wine after a long day of being a revolutionary. I can't trust a revolutionary who can't see change when change is happening, because this battle, they would never make it. I'm thinking we're not fighting the same fight. I'm not fighting to keep fighting. And yes, I said frolic, and joy, and delicate, and freedom. Because the revolutionary I can trust understands all of those things. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to invite Landon Smith up to the mic. Welcome, Landon.
There is no such thing as an empty bomb threat thrown at a black house. Greenwood and pine still can't move past the cement mixed with marrow mixed in, so excuse me for taking white history seriously as I walk down these HBCU steps with another target on my back for what another white board member bans a book from speaking on. And another black mayor steps up to a podium to say, "It is a shame," or "In these troubling times," or "We are better than this," despite all the evidence otherwise. And matter of fact, who is we? Who be this we in backroom meetings? Who be the we turning the wheel on the ship? Who be this we saying we are part of the problem, saying we can't get respect until we respect ourselves? Who? Who does we coming sideways out your mouth talking about more pay for leashes to put up see something, say something signs, then turn around and pocket out bomb threats to black campuses talking about we better watch our back, we better hurry up and die now that the labor costs more than the ground meat on my back? Who? Who does we supposed to be a part of? Who does we supposed to be better than? Sitting on the left side of an abandoned building because I took white history for what it is and spoke to the remains of the last threat, shoveled onto a whitewashed MLK quote, shoveled onto the left hand of a Philadelphia cut short, shoveled onto a Tulsa, a Rosewood, I am on pace to be called a nigger 212 times by summer. It is January, and there are only 10 days left in this month, and I refuse to be a corpse by the 3rd, but catch me fist closed on the 4th, and I might be gone by the 5th if this white woman in power has her way. Which is the same as that white man in that seat, which is the same as that last missed check, which is the same as that eviction notice. My mother says the cloth of my ancestors makes me bulletproof. So I put on a new head wrap every time passive-aggressive headshots fire off of cradle tongues down into the gutters of unswept streets where I'm told that I belong. And I walk around with cash just in case I pass another cardboard sign, giving a fortune to crates just to see more hungry mouths the next month. It's almost like I cannot fix these encampments on my own, like starvation is intentional, like billions in surplus don't exist. Maybe by the end of this poem, you can tell me what the cause is. While I kick 3 more election pamphlets off my doorstep since I don't do drugs on Tuesdays ever since my neighbor overdosed on Kamala Harris bumper stickers. Meanwhile, the city of San Francisco made $90 million in parking tickets just to not have affordable housing, just to hire more pigs to put tickets on windshields, to pay for pigs putting tickets on windshields. And my last $60 goes to the cardboard sign again. You know, a fist fight is always fair to the waistband with a gun tucked inside. And you know, an eviction is always fair to the feet standing on a bankroll. But my cousin told me that not all skin folk are kinfolk, so I keep 2 feet in my back pocket so I land on my feet when I'm sucker punched between line breaks, and the neoliberal slides the judge lump sum to slide me into solitary silence so that a white tenured professor can tell you that these are not poems, that these are lyrics, that these are a soapbox, and that they are too unhoused and must cut their hair before they deserve a home. But did you know there are children in prisons? That was not a punchline. Sometimes I just like to interrupt poems with facts, like capitalism is a plague, or there is no such thing as a white South African, or there are too many white people walking dogs in my neighborhood. One had on a Yay Area shirt, called the pigs on me and told me my hair was disturbing the peace. You know the first rule of Fight Club? Is don't listen to white men. And what good is the Fight Club that never fought for the scars on my back? Took me 3 summers to find my voice. Had to use violence to do it, preach violence for violence sake, then break the jaw of the softness nobody would listen to. And then y'all consider burying me with my poems when I started to speak from a Lorraine Motel balcony about the gun tucked under my tongue that I stashed behind the curtain waiting on the next bomb, the next bomb. The next time a bomb shows itself on my doorstep, I will arm myself with thoughts and prayers. And the hot takes of white people, because ain't shit more violent. Imperialism been walking with a hole in its leg the last 3 summers. Threw up flares about Cuba and China again. You know, this empire shit ain't gonna last anyway. And I got all gold teeth, so my poem would appreciate over time. So you would take my words more seriously. So you would Africom nightmare yourself to sleep in a rocking chair made from my great-grandmother's whittled bones. You know, I talk to my childhood home on Sunday nights, hoping I find a time where failure doesn't mean I'm 2 puddles under a tax-paid tire while my child learns to fail while being fatherless for the first time. I hope I left enough time in their palm to be a reason to keep trying. Warden cold pressed every fallen brick of my grandmother's home into my ashes before I left. And maybe I'll learn that violence only fails when violence fails. And I was never successful after all. And I only have enough love in my heart to fail this one last time, so to make it count, I'll leave you this poem in my will. A message that you have to be quicker when they come for you. I'm ready to know home, wherever that may be, spinning Tracy Chapman records under my still body while clutching Walter Rodney and my rigor mortis fingerprint on my way to find peace somewhere. Florida back roads talking to the skin on my upper back. Saying it got some leather for me if I don't keep moving. And on the wrong side of a train track, you might find my solitary body. Sundown sheriff caught a whiff of it, started unclipping hosts, not doing it. In my left palm, I pack the souls of the field. And in my right, I shoot back at cops. Ain't no sunset long enough for the last breath in these left palms, so I sing blues spirituals. Before you ask me why I choose violence, I can't know peace yet. Not with this grass slice of ankle bones, Not with these worn down tires still begging for freedom, On behalf of the hands gripping my left palm, I have no choice but to back alley to backwoods, buried disposition between Polk County plantation fences, and I might dance tonight too. Cut a rug one time for the ones who cut bondage from the left leg to kick the bucket with their right. I stare this plantation pig in the face knowing that to be invincible is to carry the souls of the field with me and to tell that judge that I am not sorry. Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Adrian Oliver up to the mic. Welcome, Adrian.
Hashtag for a reason. A 4-part fill-in-the-blank poem for the overworked and underloved. Part 1. Hashtag for a reason, Tide. She is a limitless being. They try to break her with chains, with words, with the DNA of a heartbreak embedded into her body. Mama's heartbreak, mama's mama's heartbreak, mama's 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 heartbreak, even mama's 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 heart breaks. But she smiles and smiles like a black man in blackface fighting for his dignity. She has to reach way back to the Nile to remind her how to smile. While time traveling in between this present and her past Africa, she sweats the transatlantic, centuries beat up at the nape of her neck. The year is 20-something they telling her now, or is it 1968? Or 1863? She thought we already done been through Reconstruction, but her body feels contorted from squeezing behind a whites-only counter, standing over her son's open casket funeral, being bombed with her 3 friends, being shot in her apartment. She forgets what day it is because the lifetimes are just running together, and they want her to be on time in this time, to wake up from her dreams and feel like she actually slept where her body lay while her spirit was in fugitive flight. Okay, the second poem. Since Lando got the mic so hot, and I know this crowd is hyped, ready to hear from Moses, I'm gonna invite y'all to sing a little bit on this one, and hopefully the mic will stay on for us. It's a really short little run. It goes boom, 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 boom. And then I'll do this when it's time for you to stop. We're only gonna do it 3 times because we only have 5 minutes. I wanna respect the time. So it's a day in San Francisco, notes from the Great Migration. Here we go, y'all ready? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Now I am in San Francisco, remembering, tracing, minding my journey from Little Rock to get here. I forget how many state lines I cross. All I know is I am expanding. I look around and see, waiting to hear what the city limb's gonna say. If this city even need my little part before I make myself too at home here. I look around the Tenderloin, and the Tenderloin say it needs poets. I look around and almost forget I'm a poet until the Tenderloin says, but you are. And I inhale the tenderloin-ness of that moment until I look at the street and see a lady throwing rocks at it, like she mad. And the street say, oh, she's mad. She's sitting here counting minutes till the city notice her. And then the Fillmore says, boom, 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 boom. It needs jazz. And then I look around and I forget that I am jazz. Till the Fillmore says, but you are. Well, then I say, Fillmore, how many black folks play here these days then? And the Fillmore says, well, they shut down that Fillmore Center because they was shooting. And I just find myself on one of them muni buses all discombobulated in Dolores Park, and the pigeons there say, don't feed the white folks. And meanwhile, over at the Golden Gate Bridge, they saying cheese. And I am here on mission watching Silicon Valley bus in some white folks to Google. Boom, 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 boom. And then I remember Little Rock. I remember the Little Rock Nine and how they fought for us, but I forgot what we even won because the school's all back segregated now. And I remember that's why I'm just carrying tea, sipping slowly. And this San Francisco fog says, it's all right to squint. I know I'm thick. And that San Francisco wind, y'all, it say, it's all right to hold tight. I know I'm cold. And then I remember the embrace of Arkansas summers close to my skin. And I remember later today, I'll be back in Oakland, and the town will say, holla, if you hear me. And let me take my sweet potato soul time growing into the cadence of this Bay Area life. Truthfully, I'm ready to go back to Oakland right now. Oakland, I just remember being born. It reminds me of Mama's afterbirth when it was like, cry, girl, cry. That's Oakland for me. A cacophony of sound I make. And now I am here in San Francisco standing like improv jazz. Forgetting that song we was just originally doing, I am here for the 6 million of us who traveled far to get here, from Chicago, from New York, from Little Rock, from anywhere where the city is still saying, die, nigga, die. And I remember that we are still, especially now, wading in that water. Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite our special guest, poet and Golden State Warriors player, Moses Moody.
What's going on? I wrote this poem with my friends and family of mine, especially the younger people with potential, but I don't necessarily mean potential to do great things, quote unquote, but just wanting everybody to be all right. The poem's called Keep Saying Gimme, Then Problems Is What You're Gonna Get. Let me tell you a story about a boy named Gimme. Gimme said, gimme this, gimme that, gimme everything. So that's what Gimme got, everything. But Gimme ain't know everything he got was taken from a boy named Lou. And Lou was losing this, losing that, losing everything. Lou lost so much that Lou got lost. But everybody got problems. You don't gotta help the man next to you just because he got less than you. That's his problem. But if Lou lose enough, then he gonna go take what Gimme got. And now we got a few problems. So let's come up with a plan to offer a helping hand to a boy before we got to deal with a desperate man.
So I'm going to share a short piece before inviting up our featured poet for this evening. This poem is entitled In the Day Diamonds Are in the Water, after Toni Morrison. The only time the ocean cut me, I bled stories. They said, what a beautiful, yet terrifying thing it is to be free. They said, we have traveled years to bring you our names. We knew you'd forget them, or worse, never recognize them in the first place. They said, rememory me. Unfold your tongue, gather in your hand all the cities your foremothers birthed freedom in. Scatter milkweed seeds in the wind and call us home. Waterlogged and weary, bandage your wounds with diamonds and rise from seafoam memory, homebound. I have never been far from the page. How else to learn what moonlight looks like through blue-eyed promises? Oh, but to be Sonia, to be Toni, to be wind in a cotton field scattering marigolds. I wished I knew Arkansas clouds like I do the lines on a palm, like I do the recipe for forgiveness. Joy is memory in the refrain, magic too hopeful to stay hidden. See, the trick to befriending stories is listening after all. Sometimes belonging cannot be traced by tide lines or railroads carved out of the night sky, but rather dog-eared pages and overdue book finds. Having a library to owe things to makes one at home, right? Right. So we write, we sing, we rename our story legacy before they claim we were never here in the first place. Find us on the page, as she said, this is the first battlefield we play on. Here our words dance, and so we too leap into blissful surrender. And one day we will fly, and one day we will fly. It's now my honor to introduce our featured poet for this evening. Ramona Laughing Brook Webb is an Afro-Creek Muskogee queer poet and performing artist whose groundbreaking work bridges art, healthcare, and social justice. She is the first poet in residence at the University of California, San Francisco in the National Center of Excellence in Women's Health, in the Black Women's Health and Livelihood Initiative, as well as the Black Wellness Center, where she collaborates to address racial health disparities, fosters cultural change, and integrates art into healthcare practices. Beyond USF, Ramona is also the first Janice Mirakatami poet theologian in residence at Glide Memorial Church in San Francisco. Welcome, Ramona.
I'm going to start this off with a land acknowledgement, as written by kinfolks and I. I am Ramona Laughing Brook Webb. I am Afro-Creek Muskogee. And as individuals seeking social justice, we recognize the importance of committing to the everyday work of deepening our understanding of the history and actions that have led each of us to exist on this land, North America. So we begin this powerful work with a land acknowledgement. We intentionally recognize and respect Indigenous people as the traditional stewards of this land and honor the Indigenous people and the traditional Indigenous territories. We acknowledge the Ohlone people and all Indigenous peoples whose traditional and unceded territories we are gathered upon today. We acknowledge the overlapping histories of this region, including the continuing conditions of stolen Indigenous land and power, in addition to the ongoing violence produced by the legacy of racialized slavery and oppression. We also recognize that the institutions and industrial complexes with which we struggle within have been complicit in the erasure of history and continue to benefit from and perpetuate processes of colonization, broken treaties, racism, colorism, bi, homo, transphobia, misogyny, dispossession, and displacement. Let us take a moment to extend our deepest thanks and gratitude and appreciation to our shared ancestors, present elders, and emerging elders. Let us reflect in silence and then be mindful of conducting our work using words, actions, and intentions that demonstrate the honor and appreciation we extend to the Ohlone people and all Indigenous peoples whose lands we sit and stand upon. And in honor of the traditional stewards of this land, let us take a deep collective breath in silence together. 1, 2, 3, deep breath in. Thank you for taking a moment of silence for the traditional stewards of this land. I appreciate your time and attention to it. Like I said again, it's all right, you can applaud that. Indigenous peoples and lands need applause too. We gotta recognize and be excited about it. And I wanna affirm everybody's goodness in this room, welcoming in all the legacy and the ancestors that are held in this room. Everybody who walked into this space with genuine care and compassion in this room, all of the goodness that exists as you in this room, as I begin to share my own legacy. So this piece, this series of poems are a series of call and response pieces between myself and my great uncle, Lewis Howard Latimer. Lewis Howard Latimer is the inventor of the first permanent carbon filament of the light bulb. He also designed the patent for the telephone for Alexander Graham Bell, the air brakes on the train, bathroom on the bus, and a myriad of other inventions you use every day and don't realize it. And so these are call and response pieces, and so these are his poems written in the early 1900s and my 21st century responses to them. It's important to know that Lewis Howard Latimer's book of poetry was published on his 77th birthday. And 50 copies were made and given to family and friends, and I inherited my grandfather's copy, his namesake. And so I am responding as his great niece in this. The first poem I'm going to share is about the legacy, and it's called My Soul Will Be a Star by Lewis Howard Latimer. When I die, my soul will be a star, set in the depths of heaven's boundless blue, and will ever watch this earth afar and note the good, the tender, and the true. When I shall die, my soul will be a star, to smile and answer to each wandering eye, to look in sadness on all strife and war, and twinkle sympathy to those who sigh. To those who weep, I'll lend my softest light, and send sweet hope down on a tender beam. To those who love, I'll give a gleam more bright than radiates out from a poet's dream. I'll guide the sailors o'er the treacherous sea and bring his land safe to foreign strand, and warn when danger threatens on his lee, and smiling greet him when he's safe on land. I'll peep into the window of each home where sorrow bows the loving parent's head, and bring sweet tidings to the loved ones who roam, and whisper messages from dear ones dead. When I shall die, my soul will be a star, and I shall watch while the bright sun is gone, beaming most brightly when the day is afar, and fade into the sunlight of the waking morn. When I shall die, my soul will be a star, to smile on earth through ages yet to come, to guide and comfort all the souls that are, and welcome others to their final home. Lewis Howard Latimer. It's important that I share these pieces, and I appreciate your applause and your care and your compassion to them. Most of these books are in the Smithsonian, they're in the BAM Museum, they're in the Latimer House Museum. I have the only copy that actually exists in the actual world. And so it's important to me to share this work with community and share it with friends and share it with family. And I appreciate you joining me in this family. My responsorial poem is entitled Living for the Stars, LHL, dedicated to my father, Wallace Hall Webb, and my great uncle, Lewis Howard Latimer. For my father. When my father was dying, a restless light swam about his tongue, soft glow of the soul swirling in a death rattle, alerting us to the newness on its way. The light at the end of the first darkness is birth. The light at the end of the last darkness is death. The light in my family is a generational gift. I feel the genius of the light. It is in my veins. My mother put it there. Fact. Lewis Howard Latimer invented the first permanent carbon filament of the light bulb. Patent number 247097 on August 13th, 1881. For years, the electric light bulb carried his initials, LHL. For Uncle Lewis. We descendants of the light hold it close, cast it about the world, filling black hearts with pride. We are the light bearers, casting light into the unknown and unseen, clearing to the way of a certain truth about the brilliance in blackness. It guides the hand of a poet unsung, a still guiding light. It was the light of the radio and the vision that followed that stopped me in Hurricane Katrina, saved my life 20 minutes from a bridge that would have led to a certain death. Like a lighthouse of the soul, spirit turned me round, and after the storm, it was the light that I missed the most. like a somber moon, like a daydream held captive in the eye of chaos. And when cancer rolled up my father's chest and sung a deep breath, it was a fallen darkness picked from the night sky, a blanket of stars and silver linings, his gaze fixed on through the window, waiting to cross. And when the moment came, and the moment did come, I watched the light escape from his eyes. The moment of graceful ascension is like a heartbeat held in sassafras, a sudden bloom in February, a sassafras kiss, a weeping willows waving goodbye in the distance, eyes that smile without sadness, and the arrival home always follows the light, the light. Uncle Lewis, the constellation of stars that led your parents, Rebecca and George Latimer, to run freedom down, run north from Virginia to Massachusetts, run over, run through, run beyond, and run, and run, and run, and run, and run to give birth to you, to give birth to the light that would illuminate the world. Yes, when I die, my soul will be a star, way up high but close to where you are. Yes, when I too die, my soul will be a star, way up high but guiding generations to come from afar. Thank you for that. And you can't talk about the activism and the incredible brilliance and invention of Lewis Howard Latimer without talking about his father, George Latimer. And he has a very particular revolutionary story. He and Frederick Douglass met as very young men. And this was at the beginning before they had both become activists. In fact, the family story goes. So when George Latimer and his wife, Rebecca, ran away from the plantation, they bought boat trips. George Latimer was passably white, and so he passed for white. And he took his wife with him as his handmaiden on this voyage. They got off in Massachusetts, developed a life, became members of community, had friends, had a family. Eventually, enslavers who were looking for Latimer, for George and Rebecca, came to Massachusetts to find them. They'd heard that they'd been there. When he saw him, the story goes, George saw the enslaver first. And so he ran into a courthouse and he burst into the police station and he said, "Arrest me." And they said, "Why?" He said, "Because I'm a thief." And he said, "What have you stolen?" And he said, "I've stolen myself." And so George and Rebecca were placed under arrest and put in jail while they were unraveling this question of the moral quality of slavery. It was one of the first abolitionist cases ever to be tried in the United States. And at the end of it, as opposed to allowing it to go to a final trial after his very powerful testimony, they decided that it was too close to possibly having a conviction and overturning something that could overturn slavery or abolish slavery for the entire country. This would have been a cornerstone case. So instead, the community members took up a donation. They took up money and they paid the people who had come to take them back and enslave them to leave, as opposed to letting the case move forward. George Latimer and Frederick Douglass became friends at this time and began telling this story, sharing the horrors of slavery, and this is a part of how the petition was launched. And he would George would walk through the audience, he would unveil his back so people could see the whelps of the lashes, so they could understand the horrors that they have run from and the reason why they need to sign this petition to begin to protest slavery and then begin this abolitionist movement. And it's important for him to be included in this history. Oftentimes that story is left out for him and for Frederick Douglass. And so this next piece is entitled "Go Ahead or Stand Aside." Although these pieces were written in the 1900s, I feel that they are incredibly relevant right now. Go Ahead or Stand Aside by Lewis Howard Latimer. Life is change. The change of progress, we must neither pause nor stay, but be ever up and doing, ever moving on our way. In the rush and crush and struggle of the hurrying human tide, there is but to do your duty, which is to go ahead or stand aside. You may think to pause and question, shall I go or shall I stay? Is it wise to make the venture, standing thus you block the way? And the billows sweep around you, not one moment will they bide. Hurry on, each one is chanting, you better go ahead or stand aside. Though the waves seem sweeping o'er you, do not yield you to dismay. You are part and parcel of it, let the tide turn as it may. You must be still and with it and in it, let who laugh and deride. Hold your way and make all others go ahead or stand aside. Thank you for that. And the responsorial poem is entitled, I'm Reclaiming My Time. As inspired by my work at UCSF and the Black Women's Health and Livelihood Initiative. I'm reclaiming my time. I no longer give you permission to walk all over my space, and by permission, I do mean my silence. You may not claim my light as your own. I am not a part of your emotional labor force. I do not care about your fragility. I am reclaiming my time because I deserve time, a legacy of time, an apothecary of time. I am not in construction. I am now in carpentry. Smooth brown edges, sweetening sassafras curves, loving black and brown bodies endowed with creationism. I have no need for these bricks that I've been building. You can have them back now. My hands are made for a sweeter vision. You see, I am reclaiming my time, and the vision is on its way. Although justice has been a courtesy call on hold, I'm still waiting for the ceiling to fall and the possibility of change crash around my feet and allow me to be seen as loudly as I am brave, as seen as brilliant as I am tall, to be seen as brown as I am black. See me as brilliant and not belligerent. See me as whole, perfect, and complete and holding, healing this wellness that is me. See me as worthy of taking up all the space. Walking in knowing that my higher self is my value, is my belief in practice and not apologizing for it. Believing that my time is worthy of greatness and believing that we are reclaiming our time, that we are deserving of time, that we have lost way too much time, that I need more time, that my heart is full of time, that my mind is reaching for time. Because it is my life, my love, and my legacy, time. Thank you for that. And like I may have mentioned earlier, I'm poet theologian in residence at Glob Memorial Church, which is work that I really love. And so this one is an action of prayer, an action of affirmation, an action of calling in for all of us. Dear God, dear universe, dear spirit, dear Jiggy Holy, I pray you see yourself as divine fortune, a living testimony to the abundance that brought you into this world, an infinite knowing of the spirit that guides your intuition. I pray that you know you are a celebration in action. Each one of you are destiny manifest, prophecy at work. I pray that you know you're valuable. Pray you take up all the space. Pray you see yourselves as a reflection of your mother's strength. Know that you are a testament moaned into testimonial. I pray that your heart remain a dedication to unconditional love. I pray that you see how valuable you are, how nothing is the same without you, how this room does not feel or warm in the same way without your thought, without your prayer, without your ancestry. Pray that you understand that the legacy that you are holding, you are walking forward with, not just for yourself, but for those who are behind you. Pray that you understand how worthy and necessary and absolutely beautiful you are. Thank you, God. Ashe, Amen, and Amen. Thank you for that. And I won't keep you too much longer. But I do want to say, a lot of Lewis Howard Latimer's poems are about his wife. I would say 60% of the poems in his book are about his wife and their love story and about his work. And yes, he was the only Black member of the Edisons. And yes, he was a part of fixing, trading, shaping, myriad of different inventions. And yes, there was a taking of legacy in that and, giving away of invention credibility. And there was a falling out between Edison and Latimer in the end. Because when the Edison pioneers became tradable and the stock market was being born, there were millions of dollars that were given to every inventor except for Lewis Howard Latimer, because he was a black man. And in the very beginning of his career, he was a paper hanger, and he used to work for an architectural firm. And he asked for permission to read the books on the shelf. And so he was a self-taught architect. He was a self-taught inventor. And he told Edison, "I'd rather go back to paper hanging than spend another day working with you." And they never spoke again. In his time with Edison and the light bulb, it bears mentioning that when Europe wanted the light, they wrote a letter to Edison and said, "Hey, I need you to come. Show us how to make this light situation work for us too." And he said, "I'm gonna send you my best man. He is brilliant, he is amazing. He's gonna come and teach everybody how to do it." So Latimer he sent on a ship for 3 months, all the way there. He gets there, they say, "No, you can't be him. You're black. There's absolutely no way. And no, we're never gonna learn from you." So they put him back on a boat. He spends another 3 months coming on back to the United States, just to send another letter that says, "I told you I was going to send you my best man and I have sent him." And instead of holding a grudge, he went back another 3 months, all the way to the UK. And that is the reason that the UK has lights. He comes back to the United States, teaches himself French, and then goes to Canada and does the same. So in this journey between he and Edison, they have a lot of different kinds of engagements. But in their final falling out, they end up not speaking, and there's no more communication until Latimer's death. Thomas Edison wrote his obituary and recredited him with all of his inventions as a beautiful offering. Forgiveness is divine, and history needs to be a lot more forgiving. So, but speaking to the love of he and his wife, I'll share one of his love poems. My heart, the echo of thine own. My heart's the echo of thine own. All that thou lovest, I love too. And more than all thou lovest, I love you. My heart's the echo of thine own, and its throbs to love divine. My willing heart makes answers, I am thine. My heart's the echo of thine own. When thy dark eyes beam love on me, my throbbing heart is in unison with thine beats ecstasy. My heart's the echo of thine own, clear as the chimes of silver bells. The love of my heart thine reveals, mine sweetly tells. My heart's the echo of thine own, until this heart shall cease to beat, till echo thine nor think aught else in life more sweet. Sweet little love poem to his wife. Just beginning to tip the meter into a little bit of eroticism. I'm gonna tip it all the way over in my responsorial poem. My responsorial piece is entitled Clitoral. I said it was all the way. 1. She is wrapped in daybreak, my tongue rolling over cotton sheets. The smell of her teasing saunters into muffled breaths, whispering promises that couldn't possibly be true. 2. Why now? It is always more pleasing when she doesn't want you. The hunt for temptations beckon, the slip of fingers and lazy nights dreaming possibility. 3. She is cold and reckless with my intentions, and I wait for your memory to stain my lips. Suck like this is the only way to remember anything. See, you don't know me, and I don't care. My soul sings for this moment, hopes for it, and prays with you in the end when the sounds of surrender ring the windowsill 4. You don't need me to remember you. You hope I will fade into rude abstraction when the sun peaks, but for now, in this breath, we are in love. We are setting off on the journey between quaking thighs, and I am everything you've ever wanted to feel. But tomorrow is coming. 5. I gather her thighs beneath me and pull her waist close, split her gently, spur the ridges lightly till she opens wide and falls without fear, till she clenches my locks in step with the rhythm. She is sweet and sweat and stirring in the places that my tongue falls. I slip myself into her and dream, sucking and pushing harder in each turn 6. I want her to beg. I want to prostrate myself before her. She wants me to believe, and she wants me to forget. Thank you for that. Some of y'all look a little uncomfortable. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. We're gonna make it through the next poem, I promise. And I'm gonna close with this. Now, we done talked about the gushy stuff. We're gonna talk about the birthing stuff. So like I said, I work in OBGYN, the Black Women's Health and Livelihood Initiative and the National Center of Excellence in Women's Health. And one of the missions that we have is to uplift not only Black women and gender expansive people in birthing, but the understanding that we are the highest rate of death before, during, and after birth. And that's a global phenomenon specific to the United States based solely in racism. You cannot buy your way out of this experience, but there are other options. I also work with the Black Wellness Clinic, which offers very specifically all Black concordant care for Black OBGYN needs. So I wrote this piece entitled See Us Birth, which is in collaboration with an art exhibition that has pictures that depict Black and brown families to make us feel more welcome when coming in for appointments and when birthing. See us birth. See the birth of life in our eyes. Lit by the strength of the dreams of our imagination, it is winding in our curls, baited in our breath, this practice of faith, this exploration of equitable future. Let the soul of this generation love us into dawn. See us as families, threaded by laughter and tears and Sunday dinner. Watch us sail on an evolution of our ideals stitched with care, a symposium of thriving, holding a people as a vision. See the resilience in her smile, the tempo of grace in hand. This is revolution. Safety on little sweet faces, knowing of innocence preserved. We are walking, learning, believing, sharing this principle in practice, thriving in this journey ahead. See us embraced. See us dream, rise, believe. See us live in valuable worth. See us as Noor excellence. See us birth. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you. I honor you. Thank you for your listening. Thank you for your hearts, and thank you for your ancestry.
With that, I would like to introduce our next open mic reader and continue with the rest of our open mic lineup. I'd like to invite up Denise Maciel up to the mic. Welcome, Denise.
A little backstory. I'm from Houston, Texas. And I'm, H-Town till I drown. I moved here about 3 years ago. And when I moved here, I never thought that I would go back to the South, care about the South. I had a bad taste of Southernness in my mouth. And the longer that I'm away from it, the more that I love it, and I cherish it for all the good that's given me and the beautiful people that are still there. So I incorporate it into a lot of my poems. And this poem is called Thunderstorms Announce Themselves Before Rain Begins. And then a crack of lightning dances in the sky, humbles the ground, dampens the air, a prologue for a purge so dramatic and so necessary. I lay still and watch the greens whip, branches dancing, heeding heaven's cries. They say that thunder signals God's anger. I imagine each grumble as a verse. It never thunders in San Francisco. Trees don't get struck down in flashes of fury. I miss nature's random fits of aggression, a reminder of our innate ability to crave destruction. A beseeched blessing during a Houston hurricane, clear gray skies soften and beaten earth, mud pools, droplets drip. Everything makes its way into the crevices one way or another. Sacrilegious shower thoughts, snakes down the drain with sulfate face washes. I clutch onto the past like tender pearls. Don't let them drop. We pace the room in circles, walk, then stop, walk, stop. Feel around for earth's quakes, pinch ourself into the arms shakes. My God has a telephone. I hear it ringing in the morning. Whispers of gospel put pen to paper and turn bliss into blossoms. We sit crisscross applesauce and wait for life to teach us a lesson. I tell myself I have nothing to write about. All that dances on tongue is pain or love or sin. Not of birds, lullabies, or tender softness of peaches. Love twists its way into the forefront. Love that embalms the deep cuts and keeps the community alive. I crush Eve's apple in my palm, stinging juices, red flesh. It embraces my skin, and it leaves a burn. I skim the eyes back and forth, roll the neck, snap the finger. I ask him to hold my hand, then my heart, gently, just like sand before pressurized into diamonds. Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Yeva Johnson up to the mic. Welcome, Yeva.
It's so good to be here in person. It's deep. This is incantation for Black lives to remain in focus after the outrage fades. With gratitude to community of writers and Carrie Marr. O wise one, we call on your essence. We cleave to justice, but find only feather pillows after the owl's flight, a shifting enemy. We seek, O mother, a path to prevent more deaths, more suffering. Let not our heart's desires immolate on scattered alliances fanned by misbegotten echoes of promises already broken. This time, let the sword strike at the root to end this senseless cycle. Now that was an old poem around the time George Floyd was murdered. And this is a new poem in the last couple weeks. And this one is called Revolutionary Dream Call, after Nikki Giovanni and Fort Owan. If only every night, as Earth spins, and those of us lucky enough to have a safe place to lay our heads, could wake up from dreams of peace and do something. Imagine another spin around the planetary axis. Another part of the world wakes from slumber, and somebody, somewhere, stops a fight, smiles at a child. If only one dream comes to mind, or if there's only one thing you can do in a day, do something good. Imagine waking up to make something better for someone, somehow, some way. If only for yourself or a stranger, If only the earth spun, if only we woke up, not just dreaming and spinning and hoping and pining for better, but we actually were making reality the fodder for our dreams rather than the other way around. Every day then becomes a sacred instrument of the possible. Every earthly turn, every revolution meaningful, meaning we could if we tried, if we did something. We could turn this thing we understand as caste or capitalism or racism or patriarchy or hatred of anyone different in any way, or nepotism or excess privilege or control or any tilted scale. We could turn this thing around, change one thing for good, to incite joy, to increase happiness, to create understanding, to swathe us in love, and the more days and nights we spend on the earth, the greater the gratitude, the more wondrous the dream made from the dirt and the sweat of our efforts, whether singly, in small groups, or great crowds. Imagine, do, get up, make the reality a dream, the dream a reality. Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Marco Villalobos up to the mic. Welcome.
This is for the African and indigenous communities that have fed me, my body, my soul. It's called Eternal Return. Brooklyn, Queens, Watusi, Cali, Narco Corrido. Twisting in Ontario, two-step de Janeiro. Everything you think you know cause we done told you so. Mash up all in Tokyo, Bangladeshi folklorico. Tam dance from Tampico, super polka Filipino. Be careful not to fall on over. We were sent to rock the boat. Here, go for broke, Hoboken. Roomba deep in Serbia. Harlem Shake, Havana hot, don't say we weren't warning ya. Monkey jerk in Brisbane. Waltzing Himalayans, do the running man in Alabama. I ain't playing, I'm just saying. Damn. Robocop in Fort de France, Patty Duke in Martinique. Butterfly in Port of Spain, Mambo, Maui, sugarcane. So do the WAP in Moscow and do the Raj in London. Skank it up in Dublin, keep that Kingston uprock buggling. Now the electric slides in Dusseldorf and Johannesburg just got the Smurf. We may never find home, but for what it's worth, we've all been around this rolling earth. Full stop. Freedom, dream chopped, alarm clock, hard bop to the left, bomb dropped. Electeds left we for dead, delegates thought we'd rot. Instead, buckshot. Rebel, take this day your daily bread. Ancestors let you loose to chant the psalm of dread. Recite our genealogy to forge the road ahead. Giant, awake, enraged from burning bed, said, "Good morning, President, Mr. Punk in residence. Stretch in stench of fool, foul precedent. This spell will lay that body down. This power now plow the fields of creased brows. Harvest crumbs they leave us. Diet of fine sands through which our fingers sift, disturbing a dust coat that screens the dying whispers of disappeared. Good morning. Fatherless hunger, the sky robust has peeled its skin back to reveal a familiar emptiness. Ceaseless rain, paved roads slick with the sheet of water against which this tropical sun glistens. Children's footprints, mud crust into afternoon remnants. The schoolyard reverberates, shrieks and shouts, dancing against asphalt cracks. We are witnesses disconnected from families toward whom we stretch, remembering ourselves vaguely. Good morning, gravel road, washed out mountain covered in palms. Good morning, dugout canoe, downriver current pulling in rain clouds. Fine weave mosquitero between rope and steel bar window, second floor, Waimea cliff. Good morning, chontaduro tree, armful of red, yellow, orange, palm top feet made of wood in henequen. Bombo, children gyrating to their pulses while hissing sun sings gliding canoa fruit traffic over river's swollen breast. We are where cloud meets mountain, where river meets ocean, where forest meets desert, where waterfall meets highway and rain meets face. As usual, we are here, where hand to mouth, tears to cheek, and tree trunk meets earth. Time has run through us, and still we are where bullet meets skull, where machete meets bone, where knife meets spine, where curses reach ears heard, and for sheer will we remain. Eye on the hand of the drumhead, we hear our voice against ears, where pen against paper. So good morning. Good morning, paranoid soldier. Good morning, black coffee, fried eggs, and rice. On this street, Simón Bolívar escapes captivity by jumping out an iron window and into the arms of America. Good morning. Mestizo bourgeoisie, limbo oblivion, driving combustible countryside coca hustle. Bulimic minds, glinting El Dorado veins, purging fevered men in 6-month seasons, tapped gasoline vendors, hemophiliacs, bleeding rubber and latex from eye sockets and nostrils. Good morning, spit-dabbled chin, dirt-flaked cheeks, blackened fingernails and scabbed lips. Hunger-gnawed campesino, fumigated crops burned and withering. Good morning, blood-crusted machete village of footprints and phantasma. Good morning, screaming mothers of the silent disappeared. Good morning, child guerrilla, submachine gun. Good morning, salt cheek hostage, cane-drunk soldier, overheated carbine, delirious dry heave of trail, delirious dry heave trail of tears, country of uproot from river ebb to urban flow. Good morning, state-run terror, suffocating cousins of Darfur, cousins of Serbia, cousins of Kurdistan. Good morning, Colombia. Good morning, Palestine. Endless war chain with nameless bullets, grazing skulls, exploding pipe bomb shrapnel into brown skin. Good morning, handshake politicians beneath covenants of collapsing empire. Good morning, heartbeat. Good morning, heartbeat. Good morning. We are born again. We are born again, ring the alarm of millennial exchange. Our future restarts today, from the banks of the Gambia, from the banks of the Volta, from the banks of the Niger, to the banks of the Usamasinte, to the banks of the Papaloapan, the Panuco, the Orinoco, the Magdalena. Here we come. Here we come.
Next up, I would like to invite Vicente Perez up to the mic. Welcome.
I'm gonna do 2 after poems because in this Black History Month, I'm really thinking a lot about how to convince us all that we're really not individuals and we're not alone. Ancestral revenge skipped a generation. After Lucio Clifton's Why Some People Be Mad at Me Sometimes. People have stopped hearing the grief in my anger. I want to escape existence and it is seen as ingratitude. My ancestors did not want representation. I do not dishonor their struggles as mere material for college pamphlets or state-sanctioned acceptance. Self-determination is more process than individual safety. It is not your fault you can't imagine communal uprising anymore, but you are responsible for the defanging. Little comforts keep life worth living, but freedom is neither comfortable nor little. Little comforts are what keep us here. Settlers sojourn to conjure their worlds from the dust of our bones and lands. Unfortunately, this means that there are multiple worlds to win, and many that must end first. Only a turn away from whiteness will determine whether the human condition will be one of the phoenix or the match. Death is a form of offering, and life is not all sacred. White supremacy is the ideal form of Christo-fascism, and your neighbor and teacher are deep adherents. Leaders cannot even name our death, yet hold the power to continue it. I will be mad forever to spit in the face of the notion that this secondary emotion cannot itself sustain a consciousness. It is sacred, ancestral, and capable. A short circuit, a kink in the cogs of the machine of slow death. Thank you. And this last one is Against Comfort. It's after Dana Smith's Less Hope. How many times will consent be manufactured with our names on it? Coke can candidates get you free entry into the amusement park of political theater. A rigged game is worth it when the ante is somebody else's body and the teddy bear prize smiles so sweet. How many elections is too many elections to bank our hope on? Burning buildings done personified themselves into people demanding loyalty via kinship. A whole imagination has been auto-drafted and preloaded into the cortex of American freethinkers. How many self-care days until revolutionary conscience arrives? Check the code, the programming. The proof is in the JavaScript. What isn't comfort affording? What lies in a turn away from the individual luxury of a life well lived without others in mind? It is after death, a future of multiverse lighthouses where we keep the light and energy bouncing where and when it is needed. Thank you.
Next up, I would like to invite Joyce Young up to the mic. Welcome, Joyce.
I'm going to read one poem from How It Happens, which is my book, and it serves as a doorway, an entryway into the book. Return. There are tender places that are sometimes wounds, soft like an underbelly, like the front of the body that retreats, led by the buttocks, covered by the arms in front of the solar plexus. The arms are guarding the treasure of the body. Its juices ripen and flow downward to meet the earth. There are dried leaves, some broken by footsteps, others curled serenely in gutters. The trees are undressing slowly. Their gold and brown robes open and fall to the ground. No matter what we do, this disrobing and our going home continue until we are pulled into the dark, moist dirt. We return to the ground like the leaves, and we are here. This is a newer, well, sort of newer poem. It was first written after the 2016 election, and then I messed with it a little bit, so this is the version now. Burn. Why worry about my spleen, my mad? I deserve a better gig than holding these cinders. Fire has a purpose, but not one I am always able to understand. I love to hold a torch, which is not the same as carrying a torch. My mind swirls, orange, red, yellow, flame-like, 80-mile-per-hour winds sweep through. Fire's wake requires tearing down or rebuilding. Your choice. I'll wait, hold a cup of water. Drink it slowly as you consider my offer. Your hair is gray. You don't have much time. And I'll end with this one. Every place breathing. A doorway opens in dark, wet earth. Dig in and grow or not. Maybe just burrow and sleep or not. Welcome coolness on a hot day. Triple digits, some chirp above ground. I recline with worms and snails, safe from auto dealers, no other way to make a way. Animals on their backs, ice in our hearts. We are part of this too. T-shirts made in Jordan, Save the Whales hoodies. None of this is static or solid. Some speak of molecules vibrating. We pretend all is solid. Table, chairs, wood, veneer, every bit breathing. We hold our breath, think it will save us. Dark, wet earth, fold us in, keep us safe. Every place breathing. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Sylvia Blaylock up to the mic. Welcome, Sylvia.
I am so happy to see all of my sisters and brothers from Nomadic Press and the MoAD Open Mic, and this is my first time in this space, so thank you so much for the invitation. I don't know who needs to hear this, but marvel is a verb. Today, I am home, swaddled in shifting fog, born to a city of hills, bridges, and peace signs. Steps away from where I once spun inside the brass revolving doors of 666 Folsom, where my mother brought her children to work when there was no one to watch us. The path that I walked through those doors led me to 11 years of my own path under the sometimes over-watchful eye of Ma Bell. Today, I can remember what it once was and marvel at what it has now become. Today, I will be close enough to visit the landmarks of my life and the wanderers there now, remembering when so many flocked to my hometown to sleep on the streets rather than endure the injustice of where they came from, and they were welcomed. Unwashed youth, untethered lovers of life, loved ones, Food Not Bombs joined Black Panthers and made sure they ate. And it was common knowledge that this land was theirs too. Today, I remember what it was, and I marvel at what it has now become. Today, I am the person I wanted to be when I was born here. When I think of the number of times I almost gave up to be here in my hometown, speaking my words into this open room, loved and loving freely, very much happily married. Finding my groove was always the key. First, I had to come home to me. Today, I can remember who I was and marvel at what I have now become. And thank you to my now 2 months husband. Time is a construct of those who have no knowledge of their place in the universe. Dare to collect it in watches, clocks, calendars, time cards, and marriages. Yearbooks pretend to keep us young forever and act as a reminder of what we no longer are. Almanacs are irrelevant in the face of global disintegration. We are the closest to the padded walls and thus the ones who get to know the so-called reality. To our ancestors, we are all children. Time is not short. Tomorrow is promised. It is the end of time as we knew it. Instead of being kept by time-bound overseers, be you time-released by time-free poets. We are the current state of the test of time, and we were never asleep. Spell weavers, shakers of the bones, incessant scratching of pen to paper, furious clacking of 2 fingers are all on battered keys with letters worn bare, breathing magic into talking books where our words are brought to life. Our minds never sleep. Words born on dreams and on nightmares and on visions and third-eye vision, breathing life into truth. Manifestations of thought, complex thought made bite-sized, consciousness given a hue. undulating pens bringing rivers from arid sand, fortifying voices grow up, children, into armed women and men. Our minds never sleep. Whispers in the dark brought into stark light. A gentle nudge coaxes thought to walk this way. Minds that never sleep, torments often not our own torments cleverly disguised as prose, gut punching our own pain, ripping out, offering up our own bleeding hearts for one more bar, one more line, for one more finger snap salute. Our minds, they never sleep. We, the griot, we've a world connected and to each other connected evermore. Finger snaps to you poets. Thank you.
All right, come on up, Trina, and close us out.
Oh my gosh, it's been such a long time singing. Oh, geez. And Landon and Sylvia Girl. Adrian. Yeah. Oh, you know. Yes, the body oracle of memory, because you know we all got memories. And we have memories at different layers and levels of remembering. But this particular piece I'm going to read today, I'm only going to do just one kind of long, but it's 5 minutes. Okay, so this comes with a bit of, it seems like when I read it, things show up the next day that were in the poem. It's just, you know, it's happened twice, but anyway. This is called the AI Proclamation. Yeah, I got issues, girl. Man, I got issues. Okay. The AI Proclamation. Whereas BS, biblical suggestions, is fairy tales, artificial intelligence, where Western culture was influenced by Greek culture's patriarchal religious beliefs, bears responsibility for the ideation of woman, her womb fruit born broken. As New Testament says in Romans 8:8, those who are in the realm of the flesh cannot please God. And whereas AI machinations reached into human futures affecting generations to come, and whereas this effect became a cause reinforcing the original cause produces the same effect in an intensified form, enmity and hate was placed between thee, woman, and thy seed. Genesis 3:15. And whereas Testament continues in that is the New Testament, continues in Acts 10:34, God is no respecter of persons. And whereas the Church Trinity said, in the name of the Father and his Son, ghost woman, where Catholic priests and nuns have agreed since their beginning, ghosting woman is an act of God because he never touched a woman. And whereas man, now a God, woman, now a ghost, church and state see no need for her to host life. What is a woman anyway? And whereas sperm counts, testosterone levels continue to drop 1% per year, the last 50 male-female couples will struggle to conceive life by 2045. And whereas man prefers the need to artificially design intelligence with face, tits, ass, fingers, toes, legs, hair, lips, eyes, nose, and personality with select voice tonality equipped with silicone aluminum vagina custom made to fit his appendage. And whereas AI hoes work for free 24/7 and do not eat, have no need for lunchrooms, offices, or real estate, work virtually, increase productivity with little human activity, no maternity leave, can't have babies, no days off for family emergencies, can't leave a legacy, lack moral compass, purely calculating, won't strike against business policies. And whereas AI behavior banks more money, more money, more money, and whereas Watson and Crick geneticists admit we should not only be concerned with the biological toxins, but the cultural ones as well, perfectly good DNA can be turned into useless junk, affecting generations to come. And whereas the World Health Organization is under the facade of some salutatory benefit, receives 88% of its controlling interest from the computer magnate, the Gates Foundation, and whereas AMA, stronger than Congress, lobbied the government against public's health best interests, causing healthcare, cancer, suicide, and death rates to rise, furthering human decline. And whereas AI, nanorobotic technology, mRNA, genetically biohacks the human body, bypassing the immune system, whereas Pfizer, modern ass, multi-billions profit farmers' pockets using G5 software of life interfaces humans with AI, and whereas Western man renunciates survival instinct with the word woman not appearing once in the US Constitution or the Bible's Holy Trinity, recognizes the commonality between church and state worship, and whereas AI is on track to replace Eve and all women, the validity of their birth canaling pussy. AI shall hereby emulate God, the Father, and his Son, born of the Immaculate Conception, to ghost woman's vagina hoe. So let it be known this day that the patriarch will create their own bitches. For the effect has become a cause, reinforcing the original cause, producing the same effect in an intensified form, and so on indefinitely. And Oracle's Oracle. I am, okay, this one. The law. Your laws do not apply to our laws. We abide by sun, star, moon, earth, water, wind laws, elements that deny no color, state, nation, country, their feet, fin, feather, wing. What our edicts have joined together, no one will put asunder. Spring spirals, sprites, spirits, immortal body jumps, strikes match, ignites fire, heart, heat, moisture, release, chariots, flesh, funk, sweet, swings low, let us ride from the other side, where metaphysical tones enthrones homes, bathe bone, call out, oh God, oh my God, on a good day. 9 moons sanctify array of sons and daughters, canonizes flesh, stone, water, scenes seen and unseen. Heartbeats, immortality's womb, empirical loom, spherical room, lyrical tune, joy and pain, sunshine and rain, 'cause everybody got a little light under the sun. 5 cosigns, 5 sisters and brothers. Math logic baptizes lives of fathers from the mothers. Fibonacci wheel keeps on turning, rolling, rolling, rolling down a river, sealed in red mitochondrial reels. Mama's helix keeps us real, rocking steady, calling this song exactly what it is. Humming all kinds of medicinal lullabies up in here. Lips, nose, eyes, ears, crown, tether 4 extensions down. How great thou art. Poets, dancers, musicians, scientists, farmers, mathematicians paying dues, crossing toll booths, en route to mysteries, sometimes crude, but adores the magic of molding hues of you. baby. And I just want to say thank you and congratulations to you, and congratulations to Nia. The last time I saw you was at your wedding, girl. And so, wow, it's always, I hope this is going to happen every month now, right? Well, we'll see, but thank you so much, and thank you, and yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Tarita, for closing out this beautiful evening. I want to give a big thank you to Ramona Laughing Brook Webb for that incredible feature. Thank you, Moses Moody, for joining us on the mic this evening. And thank you to all of our incredible open mic performers this evening. This was absolutely wonderful. Thank you, everyone.